The number one thing that I'm asked the most is how do we get started? And I do apologize for that noise in the background there. Give me just a second. I'm going to try to turn off this AI. She gets mad if I don't talk to her a lot, so I'm just going to shut her off for right now.
Are you sure you want to close ultrasound?
Yeah, see, she doesn't even like it when I turn her off. Uh, Anyway, the number one thing that I'm often asked all the time by all these emails and messages that I'm flooded with every day is how do I get started? Everybody wants to get started and just doesn't know quite how to get their foot in the door. And that's the main thing I'm here for is to help people. If you those of you all that don't know me, don't know E King or never heard the story before. I got started in bail enforcement and bounty hunting back in the late 90s. So been around for a little bit, been around for more than a day. Actually, I got out of the army and went from hero to zero overnight. One minute I've got a job, I'm in the military and a three-time combat, highly decorated soldier, and the very next day I'm jobless, homeless, and just don't know what to do. And what happened, I did have a friend back home. I'm from the Wichita, Kansas area, and I had a friend that worked on the police department there, and he said, "Hey, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go knock on this guy's door, and when he answers, handcuff him and call this bondsman up on a payphone. We didn't even have cell phones back then. He said, call this bondsman up and meet him at the jail, and he'll give you $500. And at the time, I heard the term bounty hunter, and I'm thinking of Clint Eastwood riding through uh, Dodge City on a horse. I knew nothing about it. And anyway, this guy, he talked me into it, and I was gullible enough and naive enough just to do it. And so that's exactly what I did. And once I met the bondsman at the jail, um, he turned around and looked at me and said, "Well, I hope you don't think you made a freaking friend." And wow, that kind of took me aback. I didn't know how to react to that, but it didn't matter because I knew that I wanted to do that again. And so um, I bugged this guy for like 3 months straight and said, hey, give me more work. What can I do? And he I heard every excuse in the book. There's not a market for it here. We don't. I don't have pickups. I do my own skips. I heard every excuse in the book. And I figured, well, like most people do when they're starting off, maybe this guy just isn't wanting to give me another case because he doesn't know me. He doesn't know my background, doesn't know anything about me. And so I figured, okay, well, if I'll just get some training under my belt, that'll help. And so I started looking around and seeing, hey, what can I do to get some training? And there just wasn't anything. So I called I said, well, maybe there's some state certification. So I called the State Department and I said, okay, what do I got to do to be licensed as a bounty hunter? And they said, we don't know. Call your county. So I called the county and I said, hey, what do I got to do to be a bounty hunter? And they said, we don't know. Call the city. I called the city. I said, what do you got to do to be a bounty hunter? They said, we don't know. Call the state. And I was like, oh, wow, man, I could see I was just getting ran around in circles. And part of it, yeah, did I feel like I was getting to run around? Well, I was, but the reason why I was is because they truly didn't know. Because here in Kansas, there was there's no certification or no state requirement and whatnot. And but by now, the media is kind of taken off and in the form of real TV or reality TV, if you will, and the internet's taken off at the same time. So bounty hunting is starting to catch some attention, and I got to thinking. I said, sooner or later, somebody is going to step in and start regulating this industry. And but wouldn't it be nice if the industry could kind of regulate itself just by agreeing to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do? And so what I did was I took some Army RTEP manuals and modified them, with the uses of lawful use of force, so on and so forth. And because part of some of the work I did in the Army was an MP. I was an MP for years. Did some other work, intel work, and other work as well. But I took the MP RTEP manuals and modified them to fit the bail enforcement industry, and I started training people. Then, in fact, Yeah, I had to in Colorado at that time. You had to be licensed by the state of Colorado, and before they'd give you that license, you had to be through a state approved training course. And my training course met that criteria, and so I was able to train people from here in the Midwest, and have been doing so for the better part of 20 years. And now that the internet is in full swing, it's kind of like the wild wild west on the wild world wide web, if you will. Meaning that you can get on the internet and just find every guru just selling, snake oil for anything you want. And so it's kind of hard to decipher between what's legit and what's not legit. And I, over the years, I have taken a lot of my training and put it more on the internet as well. I primarily do a lot of my work on the internet. And once or twice a year, we may go and do seminars if time allows and whatnot. But I spend most of the time now just doing a lot of coaching and counseling clients on a one-on-one basis. I spend a lot of time doing the online and social marketing, and just showing guys and gals and how to start their businesses and how to get up. So the number one thing to do that worked for me, and it's worked for many of my clients over the years, is when you're getting started in bail enforcement, is number one, you have to have some kind of backing or credentials or some kind of training. Um, just like that guy early on in the years, when I went and met him and said, "Hey, can you give me more work?" And he gave me all those excuses, and I'm sure some of you guys have probably heard those excuses as well. And I've turned down a lot of people myself with some of those same excuses over the years. It would, and that's just our way of ours being the bail bondsman or bounty hunter saying, "Hey, we don't know you. We don't know that any kind of background that you have. And frankly, we're not looking on to take on any kind of liability or risk. If you can prove to me that you're not going to be a liability, that in fact you are a professional in your job, and then by all means, I would not have a problem bringing somebody on board that could actually prove to me." Well, how do you do that? That's one of the things that we're going to talk about, and I'll fill you in on later on. Once I finally did get that guy to give me a little bit of attention, he finally took me under his wing and trained me, taught me just about all the different kind of aspects of bail bonds, bounty hunting, and whatnot. But he always told me about two rules, and these two rules I'm going to talk about a little bit here at the end as well. And they stay true today. These two rules do, and it's rule number one and rule number two. Is he drilled that into me for forever and a day. And again, we'll cover that in a little bit. But to get that kind of backing now, that's exactly what I do, and what we do here is we help you make a presence online. Number one, you've got to make a presence with your potential clients and the people that you're wanting to engage and do business with, and I show you how to do that effectively. But more so, it's more than just marketing. Um, while we're making that presence and creating that presence online, then I also help you to understand exactly what bail bonds and bounty hunting is. A lot of folks don't realize that the majority of bail bondsmen throughout the entire country are nothing more than insurance agents. So one of the things that we do early on, and for those that want to get into the bail enforcement industry and become a bail bondsman, if they want to do that through a surety company, we help them point them in the right direction, tell them what to do to get their insurance license. If you can't get your insurance license, then you're just spinning everybody's wheels and wasting their time. The other kind of bail bondsman, obviously, is a bondsman that uses property or collateral to back their bonds. And we cover that in training and show you the pros and cons of each, because there's good points about them being what we call a pocket bondsman. That's one that posts collateral or property for the bond versus a surety bondsman. There's pros and cons for each of them, and we go over that in full detail with the training. but it's just starting there with the basics. And that's what the main thing that I would suggest and recommend to everybody is number one, get some kind of training, get the basics underneath your belt, get a full understanding of those basics. And then number two, you have to have some kind of a presence out here on the internet, in social media. Uh, you know, over 1 billion people are on Facebook now, and at any given time, there the same number of people that are in this country, like 200 million, 300 million, let's just say, even to ramp it up to that. But there's over 200 million people on Facebook clicking on something at any point in time, 365 days out of the year. So, what am I getting at with Facebook? Perfect place to make a presence and make a statement for yourself and get your name out there and engage with clients and potential clients. Um, in our group, the inner circle, we constantly have people looking for cases. We have people looking for skips, looking at, and wanting work and have work available. So again, just at any point in time, you can find that. There's various other groups out there. If you just friend some bail bondsmen, not only in your local area but throughout the entire country, I guarantee you'll probably see a minimum of 5 skips a day that somebody's looking for somebody somewhere in the country. We teach you how to actually, regardless of where you live, how to get those cases, how to and solidify them, and then how to find them. Because bounty hunter, that's one of the misconceptions that people have within the bail enforcement industry. They get into it, especially nowadays with technology and the internet. A lot of folks we have all this high speed technology, high speed capabilities with the internet and whatnot, but then they still have this old school mentality and old school thinking. And what I mean by that is they want to get into this business and they start off and say, but well, I contacted the 2 bail bondsmen in my hometown. They said they don't have any work and this doesn't work for me. Well, you need to think bigger than that. Number one, being a bail bondsman and a bounty hunter, it's a mobile business. You're gonna get a case that may be from the local bondsman, but you might find that guy in Tupelo, Mississippi. You may find me in Los Angeles, California, or wherever. And if you're not prepared to be in a mobile business, or if you're not prepared to be able to successfully get that fugitive transported from wherever he's at to where he needs to be. And you can do that without actually sometimes without even having to leave the comfort of your own home. Again, those are things that we teach and teach you how to think outside of the box and do it efficiently and where it's cost effective for all parties involved. But if you're not prepared to do that, then you're probably not going to have a successful and long-lasting career in this. Again, those are things that some of the things that we covered. So that's the main 2 things that I'd like to share and put out there for new people. Hey, what do you do to get started? You've got to make a name for yourself, and you've got to get some training underneath your belt. It all starts right there, and that brings me to what I'm going to end with here. And that's Marley in the background that you can hear. She's my number 1 bounty hunter. Marley's about a 95-pound German Shepherd. She's kind of like my AI. If I don't give her enough attention, she gets to making a lot of noise. Anyway, go lay down, baby. And one of the things that we're going to be doing towards the end of this month, especially with the guys in the inner circle, is I'm going to be launching just a 10-day challenge. In this 10-day challenge, there's no additional cost for the members of the inner circle or anything else. But within this 10-day challenge, every day I'm going to be giving you action steps to things to do. We're going to assign accountability partners to you so that they can hold you accountable and you can hold them accountable. You'll always hear me say, if I've ever worked with you one-on-one or we've ever had any kind of coaching calls or anything, I always say, inspect what you expect. That's the purpose of that accountability partner. But this is going to start October 30th, so it's plenty of time to think about. I want you to think about it, and if this is something you really want to move forward with, go ahead and do what you've got to do to become a member of the inner circle and get involved on this 10-day challenge. This 10 days is going to jumpstart you into this business and jumpstart your business if you currently have one, but you're just kind of stuck at a point. Uh, Take this 10-day challenge, and I guarantee you're going to see quick, fast results. I wanted to keep this short. I was hoping I could open this up to question and answers, but it's about time for us to get kicked off of here. So I'm going to keep it short. If you do have some question and answers, go to our Facebook page, the Bail Enforcement Network Facebook page. Leave some comments, and if you're a member of the inner circle and you've got some questions that you want to get answered, leave me some comments. If you're a member on our email list, shoot me an email, leave me a comment, and I'll be more than happy to address those things. We're going to start doing these webinars every Friday at 1 o'clock. The time may change because I want to try to accommodate all that are serious about getting on board with this. So that's going to wrap this one up, and we'll talk to you next Friday. Be sure to leave those comments.